The A-10 Warthog. They laughed at it. A jet that couldn't break the sound barrier, a design that looked more like a scrapyard experiment than a marvel of aerospace engineering. Twin engines mounted like an afterthought, wings too straight, too broad, and a gun so large the plane was built around it, not the other way around. But the battlefield doesn't care about looks, it cares about efficiency. Because when your convoy is ambushed and artillery is destroyed, when you're pinned down by enemy fire with nowhere to run, there's only one thing you pray for. Not a stealth bomber, not a fifth-gen fighter. You pray for a miracle, for a machine that will turn the tides in your favor. The A-10's GAU-8 helps with its awesome fire rate of 3,900 bullets per minute. This is the A-10 Thunderbolt II. Call sign, Warthog. Feared by enemies, worshipped by troops on the ground, and dismissed, again and again, by bureaucrats in offices who never smelled cordite in the air. But the Warthog was never meant to be political. It was never meant to win beauty contests or dominate headlines. It was designed with one sacred mission: protect the troops. And it does that better than anything else ever built. It can loiter over a battlefield for hours. It can take fire that would shred other jets and still bring its pilot home. It was made to fly low, fly slow, and kill tanks. And it does all of that with a 30mm cannon that sounds like the wrath of God. Over the decades, it's saved countless lives. But one story stands above the rest. The story that showed a face most don't see. April 7th, 2003, Baghdad. The day where the A-10 showed its true craftsmanship. This is flight lore, and this is the story of the A-10 Warthog. An urgent call comes through the radio. They needed urgent help. The call came in fast, urgent, no time for hesitation. Captain Campbell and her wingman heard the distress on the radio. Friendly troops were pinned down in Baghdad. The sound of desperation in their voices was unmistakable. Two A-10 Warthogs scrambled for the skies. Kim sat strapped in, her hands locked onto the controls. Outside, the concrete of the tarmac blurred as the Warthog gained speed. Inside her helmet, one thought burned bright. Get there fast. Save them. The killer chick, as they said, was in action, and Baghdad was burning. The sky was hazy with smoke and dust. Anti-aircraft fire arced up through the clouds. Tracer rounds searching for targets like fireflies with fangs. Below, the streets were chaos. Insurgents had ambushed American forces caught in a deadly crossfire. The A-10s descended low, low enough to hear war echo through the air. Kim spotted the ambush site. A narrow street lined with busted buildings, insurgents firing from rooftops and windows. Her wingman marked targets with flares. The radio buzzed again. This time, it felt like a last call. She nosed the Warthog down and armed the cannon. The barrel started spinning. The GAU-8 Avenger cannon unleashed a storm, 30mm rounds tearing through concrete and steel, splintering the enemy positions into rubble. The Warthog danced through fire, but the strike was clean. The troops below started moving again. Mission accomplished, you thought. The unexpected happened. The aircraft was hit badly. The aircraft jolted. A violent hit. Lights on the dashboard flared red. Kim's stomach dropped. Hydraulic failure. The jet was crippled. Elevators, rudders, dead. The controls stopped responding. A split second. That's all she had. Her hand reached instinctively toward the manual reversion system. A last resort. A mechanical backup from a different era. She flipped the switch. Nothing seemed to change. Then the aircraft started operating through force. The Warthog responded, like a beast barely breathing, but still alive. She was flying on muscle alone. No software, no assists. Only cables, rods, and strength. They didn't cheer. No one said good job for the effort that was made. There was only breathing, the sound of airflow around a damaged fuselage, and the long way home. She dumped her remaining ordnance. Weight reduction was key. Any pound she didn't need was a risk. Her flight path was unstable. the plane sluggish. The wounded bird limped across hostile skies alone. One engine strained against the wind, holding course through sheer force of design and discipline. 40 minutes. That's how long she flew in a machine that should have dropped out of the sky. Every turn required full-body effort, no finesse, just raw force. The stick fought her hands. The aircraft creaked with each maneuver. And through it all, her mind stayed locked on one thing: survive, land, get home. When she finally reached base, her ordeal wasn't over. The final enemy was waiting, landing. With no hydraulic systems, landing meant no brakes, no flaps, no stability assist. She lined up with the runway. Her descent was steady, perfect. She brought it in slow. The wheels touched tarmac. The jet groaned, but it didn't fail. She let it roll. No sudden stops. No panic. Just calm. And after the longest few seconds of her life, the aircraft came to a full stop. Ground crews raced toward the Warthog. What they found stunned them. Over 350 bullet holes in the fuselage. Control surfaces torn, the tail nearly shredded. Panels missing, metal warped. And yet, the pilot alive. The cockpit intact. Killer Chick had brought the beast home. She climbed down from the ladder as the emergency team stood frozen. Not in panic, not in confusion, but in respect. She had done the impossible, and for that, she was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. Some aircraft earn headlines. The A-10 earned respect, not through speed, not through stealth, but through something rarer: survivability. They said it was outdated, a relic of another era. But every time ground troops hear that unmistakable growl overhead, every time the sky erupts in a storm of bullets, every time a pilot limps home in a shredded jet still flying, they remember. There is still hope. This is why the Warthog exists. Captain Kim Campbell didn't just survive that day. She proved what every A-10 pilot already knew. When everything breaks, when the mission goes to hell, when no one else can hold the line, the Hog does. Not because it's beautiful, because it works, because it shrugs off damage, because it protects the vulnerable, because it brings its pilot home, no matter what. And the woman who flew it that day? She never called herself a hero. She never made it about herself. She gave credit to the jet, to the engineers, to the troops she flew for. But history remembers, not for the medals, not for the speech, but for the moment she chose to stay in that storm and ride the beast home, because some warriors carry guns, others ride warthogs. And this one? She flew straight into the fire, and through pure force and great craftsmanship she came home. Like if you watched until the end and subscribed for notifications on the next stories, this was Flight Lore. Transmission ended.